Hi guys, so today's video is something that's really fun for me because you guys know I love to complain. I love to complain about makeup. It's one of my absolute favorite things to do, so that is what I'm going to do today, or I should say we, because this is actually a collab video. So this video is a collaboration with my friend Jessica over at Starshollywood Jessica. I've been watching Jessica for quite a long time. She's a Swedish YouTuber. I found her through, I want to say, probably Pixi Beauty. I think that maybe they did a collab together. Maybe Paulina shouted her out in one of her videos. I don't really know, but that is how I found Jessica, and I've been watching her since. She is such a sweetheart. Now, mostly I prefer to watch videos that are not highly edited, but like pretty well edited, and like, I don't know, it just, the production value of videos that I watch do make a difference, for me anyway. But she's one of those people that she barely edits her videos at all, but it's still very enjoyable to watch, and you feel like you're just sitting down and hanging out with a friend, and it just feels very personable. I don't feel like there's too much like dead space in her videos. She's very good at just like talking through the whole thing, so I don't mind her videos not being edited. So I am really excited to share her with you guys because I think you are all going to really like her. Her eyeshadow palette collection is, or honestly, I take that back, her makeup collection is one of the most extravagant and amazing collections that I think I've ever seen. She buys everything. Like, if there is anything new that comes out that you are wondering about, go to her channel and see if she's done a video on it, because she probably has. So I'm just excited about this. So for today's collab, we are basically going to be talking about products that we had really high expectations for before we bought them, and then when we bought them, they didn't quite live up to the expectations. And so these aren't necessarily like products that I hate, it's just that I expected more. You know, I thought I would get more for this, but when I got the products and I tried it, I was just kind of like, you know, like it's fine, or maybe it was bad, but for the most part, like, these aren't like terrible products. It's just I expected more. So let's just get into the video. So I'm just gonna pull out from the top here. So the first thing that I'm pulling out is the Referral palette by Anastasia. I'm sure you have all seen this palette. This is what it looks like. So the reason why this is in my box here is because this was my first Anastasia palette that wasn't a subculture palette, and so I kind of felt like at that point I hadn't really tried like the good Anastasia formula. Everybody was raving about how good the ABH formula was, and I was like, I really need to try like her good formula and not the subculture palette. I love subculture, so I thought that was a great formula, but apparently a lot of people did not. So I tried this and it's not bad. It's okay, but I wasn't blown away by the pigmentation. I thought that the color story was kind of blah, but I mean, I knew that going into it because I bought the palette. Like, I'm not stupid. I knew I wasn't going to love this. Mostly bought it to review and because I wanted to try out the formula. Also bought into the hype because everybody was so excited about this. Everybody was like, oh my god, this is such a colorful palette. Deep down I was like, it's really not. I even did a redesign video on this before I bought the palette. I knew it wasn't going to be like that interesting for me color-wise, but I still wanted to try the formula. I really wanted this to be good. I don't know, there's just something about this formula that I just didn't really jive with. I can't put my finger on what it was. I just thought it was like okay, you know, it wasn't like a bad palette. I did think that the purple and the brown were pretty hard to blend out. Other than that, I mean, the shimmers are okay. They're not mind-blowing, they're not bad, they're just there. I mean, it's just not all that, you know. I also just don't really like the packaging. That's another story, but yeah, I didn't like this as much as I thought. I really thought I was going to love this palette, but I just didn't end up loving it. So the other thing in my box here, I actually have quite a few things in here. I guess I'll start with the big things because those are like what's on top here. So the next thing I'm pulling out is something that I mentioned in a video where I talked about, what was that video? It was like products that I can't believe I haven't tried yet, or actually no, it was the blind faith makeup tag where you had to imagine that your whole collection disappeared and you had to start from scratch, only buying things that you had never tried before. I'll link that in the corner if you want to check that out. But basically one of the lip products in that video that I mentioned was the Fenty Stunna lip paints. I bought one because everybody said it was so good after I made that video. They're like, you have to try it, it's such a good formula. I tried it, I got the shade Unbutton. I mean, it's not bad, it's just, I don't know what I expected. I really like the doe foot of this. I think the doe foot is really cool. If you haven't seen it, I will open it and show it to you. But it's basically like I don't even know how to explain it. Sorry if my hand is stained pink, by the way. I was refreshing my hair earlier and now my hands look like shit, so that's just kind of what happens when you don't wear gloves, and I hadn't tried this hair dye before. I mentioned this in another video too, sorry if I'm repeating myself, but anyway, this lipstick, it's okay. I don't know what it is about it. I feel like the color is a bit off for me as well. Sometimes with nudes, I find nudes to be a little bit just too peachy on my skin tone, and I don't like that peachy kind of nude lipstick look. I prefer them to be more on like the brown side if I'm gonna go with the nude. So this has a little bit too much warmth for my liking, and I also just don't really like the way that it dries down. I feel like it's a little bit just thicker than I expected. I don't know. I can't put my finger on exactly what it is I don't like about this lipstick, but I just don't like it as much as I thought I would. I'm gonna keep it though because I think that like this is really cool and it's a good, like, I don't know, piece to have on in front of me and look at and be like, I like you because you look pretty, but I don't know really how often I'm going to be using it, but it's in my collection now. I'm gonna keep it. It's okay. The next product is something that I got in my BoxyCharm, and I don't really know if there's really been like hype around this product, but I saw the sneak peek of this when it was coming in my box, and this is the Tarte Pro Glow palette. I had always wanted to try some of the Tarte face palettes because I just thought that they would be really good. So I'll show you what they look like without blinding you here with the mirrors, but basically you have 2 blushes, 2 highlighters, and 2 kind of contours bronzer shades. And I just thought that this basically didn't have any pigmentation. I thought that the highlighters were very chalky and dry and just not very blinding or shiny at all. The bronzers were patchy, hard to blend. One of them didn't show up on my skin. I don't like this. I think it's kind of overhyped. I mean, is it even hyped? I don't know, but I was just not really a fan of this. I really thought I was going to like it because looking at the pictures and looking at this palette, even just like in front of me now, I think all of these shades are really, really nice. And I think that this would be something that if another brand had made it, I think I'd really love it. If this was like from Cover FX or from Hourglass, I would love this. I would love this so, so much, but I don't know if it's because it's from Tarte and apparently I just don't like Tarte's formula, which I didn't know before this. Then yeah, I don't know. It's okay, I guess. So let's see, what else is in here? So I'm gonna pull out something that so many people rave about all the time and I just don't understand it. This is the Essence mascaras. I have tried 2 of them now. I've tried the pink tube or like the coral tube. Apparently that one is shit, but this one is supposed to be like the one that everybody raves about. This is the False Lash Effect mascara. I mean, I just don't get the hype. I don't know, maybe I'm just so picky about mascaras that I just don't really get it. I don't know. I feel like it's a little bit just too dry. It just doesn't really do that much for my lashes. I feel like I don't get a lot of volume from it. I don't get a lot of length from it. It gets a little bit clumpy too fast. It doesn't build very easily. I don't know. I think that Essence mascaras are just not really for me. So I need a little bit of wine because I feel like I'm getting quite heated and I need to like calm down a little bit because we still have like things in this box to go through, you know? Okay, something else that I really had high hopes for. This is the Linda Hallberg Spectral Palette. I'd heard so many good things about Linda Hallberg's everything, honestly. If you haven't seen this palette, this is what it looks like. I've made 2 videos with this, and basically the moral of the story is that I just think that this palette is too overpriced. It's a really pretty palette. Like, on the surface, I feel like all of these colors are beautiful, but then when you start playing with them, I found this kind of purpley shade to be a bit just patchy and not all that pigmented. This silver glitter is just glitter. I mean, it just gets everywhere. It doesn't stick to your eye. It's very much a topper shade, but it's very annoying to work with. I didn't like this at all. And then you have the other 2 shimmers here. They're just very lackluster. I mean, they're almost more like just satin shades, and I don't like satin shades personally. I know I've been very vocal about that, but I just don't like satin shades. So I mean, these 2 colors right here were a bit of a just whatever. This one I didn't like at all. This one was just whatever. This duochrome is really pretty, but you need to layer it on top of something else, and there's really not that many things in here that you could layer it on top of. I kind of wish there was some kind of a light blue or something like this I could go with this. I don't know. There's just something about this palette. It's not complete for me. It's not perfect. I feel like they could do so much better, and for the price, I think it was $60 something. I don't remember, but it's just too much for like 8 shadows that are just okay, you know? Oh, I'm going to get hated on for this one, but something that I thought I was going to love because everybody else loves this. This is the Ofra highlighter in the shade Pillow Talk. I just don't really get the hype. I mean, it's an okay highlighter. Do I think it's the most blinding thing in the world? No. Also, the shade doesn't really work for me that well. It's a little bit too icy. So I guess if you're fairer than I am, it's going to look a lot better. But I think that the Ofra highlighters are a bit overrated. Please don't shoot me. I mean, it's okay. Like I said, it's not a bad highlighter. It's just I never reach for it because I have other highlighters in kind of the same shade that I just like better, and this just isn't it for me. So I don't know, I just didn't really like it. I also didn't really like the Natasha Denona Diamond and Glow, like the mini palette. I don't even know if I could call it a palette. I guess it's a duo, but here's what it looks like. I find the highlighter to definitely be like a topper highlighter. Is very glittery. It doesn't really have a lot of like base color to it, so you need to use this as like a glitter topper. And I also find that I need to spray my face before going in with this as a topper, because otherwise it just like flies all over my face and it doesn't stick to my face at all, which is mildly annoying. And I also find that the blush is just way too light for me, and it's really just not that pigmented. I don't know. Some people say that you need to kind of get through like the first layer of this for it to really show up, but I almost feel like I can mix this with the highlighter and just use it as a highlighter, because this is not really a blush for me. It's a beautiful shade, don't get me wrong, but I can't use this as a blush or a blush topper because it's simply too light. So, I mean, if this is too light for me, who's really going to be able to use this as a blush? I mean, I know Angelica is able to use this and it looks beautiful on her, but I guess I just like more pigmentation in my blush. Like, I like a blush to look a bit darker on my cheeks, but this just didn't really do it for me. I'm going to keep it though. I mean, I didn't return it because I expect this to work a lot better for me, possibly in the winter when I don't have as much of a tan, and I'm pretty fair in the winter, so I'm hoping it's going to work for me then. But I have the large Natasha Denona blush bar palette, and I really like that. I actually have the blush on today. I like this palette a lot. I think it's a beautiful palette. I don't reach for it as often as I should, but it's a beautiful palette, and I just expected more from this little thing. I don't know. I wanted this to be really good for traveling and stuff, and I never reached for it, which is a shame, but it was cheap at least, even though, you know, you don't get a lot of product, but it was cheap. Something else that was cheap for, you know, the brand is this Tom Ford lipstick. I got a mini lipstick in the shade Douglas. I think that's how you pronounce this. Douglas? Douglas. It's gotta be Douglas, right? So I got one of the mini lipsticks, and I'd heard so many people talk so highly of these, and I got a very nude shade. I like the color of this a lot. I like the formula okay. I hate the smell. It just doesn't smell good. It's not something that I want to have on my lips because the smell just like sticks with me the whole day, and I hate that. And it just smells like my grandma. I don't want to smell like my grandma. So I'm just not really a huge fan of this. I mean, it's not a bad lipstick. Like I said, all of these products are like okay. Like, I don't hate any of them. I just had such high expectations, and I got this at a outlet. I think it was the Estee Lauder outlet here in Vegas, and so it was pretty affordable. I want to say I paid maybe, what did I pay for this? Like $18 or something for like a mini lipstick, which, I mean, Tom Ford is hella expensive, so I didn't think it was too bad for like trying the brand and for getting a lipstick that I could wear a lot. But unfortunately it just smells so bad that I just don't want to put this on my mouth. Like I said, the formula is okay, but like it's a lipstick. I don't feel like it's revolutionary by any means. Something else that apparently the makeup community think it is revolutionary is the P.Louise base. I don't know if it's because people who use these are makeup artists and all of their models just sit with their eyes closed the whole time they put their makeup on, but this creases so badly on me. It's so hard to work with. I don't want to go in with my finger and tap out the creases on my eye before I go in with shadows like 50,000 times. Like, it's too annoying to work with. Like, I like how my shadows look on top of this. I like how my shadows blend out on this, but for someone who is a living person who is like, you know, doing stuff while doing their makeup, I'm like opening my eyes, I'm blinking, I'm not just sitting there like this waiting for someone to put eyeshadow on my eye. It's just not very practical. So I can use this for cut creases. I think it's okay for that, but for like an eyeshadow primer and priming my whole eyelid, I don't like this primer for that, and apparently the rest of the world does. So I don't know if I'm just like in the minority here. Oh shit, I just lost it. But I just don't like this. Like I said, I think it's okay for people who maybe don't have hooded eyes and maybe are not doing other stuff while doing their makeup. Maybe they're just like sitting like this the whole time and like keeping their eyes shut, but I'm not one of those people, so I just didn't like this. I have two more things in my box here. This one is actually from my declutter pile, which I still have not gotten rid of, and this is the Milani blush in the shade Luminoso. Apparently after I bought this, they had changed the formula on this, so I mean, I bought this thinking it was the old formula that everybody loved and raved about, but I just found this to be extremely chalky and just very, very light, and it didn't have a lot of pigmentation. It barely showed up on my skin at all. I just didn't understand why people love this so much. I really just don't. I don't know what it is about this blush. I really thought I was going to love this because I am not very picky when it comes to blushes. I usually buy blushes and I end up loving them as long as they are pigmented but not too pigmented. Like, that's the only thing that I really ask for in a blush. Also, it needs to last, but most blushes do. But this one just didn't do what I wanted it to do, and I was just really disappointed in it because I thought I was going to love this. I didn't really have any kind of corally blushes, and this was just so beautiful, but unfortunately it just didn't work for me. I don't know if it's because they changed the formula. I don't know if this is a changed formula or if I just don't like the Luminoso blush. I really don't know. So last thing in my box is something that I know a lot of people really, really love. And it makes me so sad that I don't like this as much as everyone else does. This is the Pixi, what is this called? Fairy Dust or something? Liquid Fairy Lights. This is in shade Crystalline. It's a beautiful, beautiful liquid eyeshadow. I'll give you a quick swatch of it. It's like a multi-chrome with just a lot of like holographic glitter. I don't even know how to explain it, but it's super beautiful. But I just find that whenever I use this, it just disrupts my eyeshadows and it makes everything look really patchy. Even if I try to apply this with a brush, even if I try to use it with the doe foot, even just using it in my inner corner sometimes, it just looks a little bit weird, and I don't like this formula at all. I don't understand how people are able to use this on top of their eyeshadows. I just don't get it. I'm like, what am I doing wrong? I need somebody to help me. But this was one of those things that I really thought I was going to love, and people compare this to the Stila glitters, which are my favorites, and I also really like the Lime Crime ones, and I even heard some people say that this is a dupe for those, and I don't agree with that. I don't get why people say that, because this isn't similar at all. Is it beautiful? Yes. The formula, on the other hand, I can't get on board with this. I'm sorry. I don't really like this. So those were all the things that I bought expecting to really, really love, that were pretty hyped up or that just had good reviews that I had heard, and then yeah, I ended up trying them and I just didn't really like them. But you know what? That's makeup for you. You can't like everything that you buy. Everybody has different opinions about makeup. Everybody likes different things. Just because your best friend likes something that you end up not liking doesn't mean that, you know, her opinion is off or that she doesn't have good taste in makeup. It just means that we're different. And that's basically what I feel like this video shows, is that just because I buy something that a lot of people like doesn't mean I'm going to like it, and that goes the other way around too. So that's basically going to be the end of the video. So if you want to see more, go ahead and check out Jessica's video. I think you guys are really going to love her. She's such a sweetheart. So that'll be it for today's video. I'll pop some more content up on my screen if you want to keep watching, and if you're new to my channel, I would love it if you would consider subscribing, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.